Hey everybody, happy Tuesday. Let's get started with your next lesson. So yesterday you read about the Native Americans that were in the West around in the 1500s. And so today we're going to fast forward about 300 years and talk about how we're going to start growing the West and when people start actually moving out there. So if you'll pause me, please go to page 384 in your book, and I want you to read this to yourself and then unpause the video. Okay. So please go ahead to page 384, read just this page and stop, and then come back to me. But please make sure you read it before I keep going. Okay. So as I've told you before, the book just kind of touches on the surface of things and doesn't really go deep. And you know that I like to give you just a little bit more information than what the book is giving you. So the Lewis and Clark expedition to the West with their helper and translator, interpreter, Sacagawea. Actually, she kind of knew where she was going to, so she was a good guide. Okay, so why though? And it briefly mentions just a little bit here, but let me take you back about 1 year before they started. So remember in 1803, yikes. Remember in 1803 when Thomas Jefferson bought the Louisiana Purchase from France for $15 million? Okay, now go back a few months in my classroom and we were talking about this. So they bought it in 1803. And did people immediately start going out there? No, they had no idea what was there. Remember, we talked about they didn't know if the land was good for farming. They didn't know if it was hilly, mountainous, flat. They had no idea. Water sources, no clue. So Thomas Jefferson was like, all right, I got to start getting people out there. Now, remember, I'm going to take you even back. Keep thinking about that lesson in the Midwest that we talked about. Remember the Homestead Act, where they told settlers that if they went out west to the Louisiana Purchase, and they were head of the household, they were 21 years old, they lived there for 5 years, set up camp, they could have land for free, right? Okay, well, that didn't happen until 1862. Remember, we said that was about 60 years after we bought it. So, sorry. Okay, so 1803 we bought it. Well, 1 year later, Thomas Jefferson, he was like, all right, we've got to figure out what's actually out here, what kind of land we own. And the goal was to get all the way to the Pacific Ocean. Okay, so he hired Lewis and Clark. They were to get their team together, which was actually called the Corps of Discovery. And here they go off to the west. So this is their path. My mouse is very touchy. I don't want to go to the next slide here. So if you follow this path, they went along the Mississippi River. Not the Mississippi. Sorry. Here's the Mississippi. They went the Missouri River, okay, which went west. They went as far as they could, and then eventually they're going to hit some mountains and some cold weather. And actually, if you look up here, they actually meet several Native American groups. But again, their goal, they actually had a few goals. One was to get to the Pacific Ocean. The other was they actually journaled a lot on their trip. They were to look for new animals that they saw out there, plant life, the people that they met, like the tribes and everything, what kind of land was out there. So they had quite a few tasks that they had to accomplish. They did make it in the way that to the Pacific Ocean. And then, see, look, they followed the rivers. That was mainly how that helped them get to the ocean. Okay, and then on their way back, the story goes is that they split to kind of cover new territory, and then they met up back here and made their way back. Surprisingly, it only took them 2 years, which is actually amazing considering they were this. When I watched one of the videos, it said this was the first group that ever made it to the Pacific Ocean on foot. Okay, so remember, they're doing this all on horses, just by land. So that's some background knowledge there. I also want to touch just a little bit on Sacagawea. Okay, there is a story in your Journeys book. If you have 10 minutes to go and read it, you do not have to do it today, but it does give you a bit more background knowledge on Sacagawea. And something that is very interesting about her is, first of all, they did not just go and ask Sacagawea to be their interpreter and guide. It's actually her husband, Toussaint Charbonneau. He was a fur trader, and he kind of talked himself up, made himself sound really good. And so Lewis and Clark wanted to bring him along as part. I think he was supposed to be like a negotiator because he did not speak the Native American language, but they took him for some task. I can't remember. I think it says it in your story. I'm sorry. So the deal is that Sacagawea got to come along with him. Here's the deal though. Sacagawea was pregnant, and actually she had her little baby while they were on the trip, or right before, or while they were on the trip. And these two guys, Lewis and Clark, got really close to him. It was a really cute story. But let's back up a minute. I want to talk about Sacagawea. When she was like 12, 13, think 12, she was a young girl. She was actually kidnapped from her Native American group. Okay. She was kidnapped. She was taken by another Native American group. I'm sorry if you read the story, you'll know the names. It's been a long time since I read it. I really apologize. But anyway, she was kidnapped by another tribe and actually sold to Charbonneau, okay, to Toussaint Charbonneau, who later on married her. Okay, so she has been away from her family for several years, right, while she's the interpreter and guide. Okay, so while they're on their journey, you're not going to believe this. It gave me chills when I read this in the book, okay? So while they're on their journey, she is the guide, she is the interpreter. She used to be a Shoshone tribe member. I don't know what else to call her. She used to belong to the Shoshone tribe. So when Lewis and Clark and Sacagawea and their entire group stumble upon the Shoshone group, she's going up to interpret with them, see what they can trade for food, shelter, horses, yada, yada, yada. She walks up to the chief and she's standing there and she's like, holy smokes, this is my brother. I'm not even kidding you. So she was reunited with her family that she had been kidnapped from while she was the guide and the interpreter on this trip. It's just like crazy that that even happened. So of course it was a sweet little reunion. She continued on. It was very sweet. If you go in your Journeys book, it will tell you that whole story. But I just thought that was so cool that she was able to reunite with her family after being kidnapped with them years ago. Okay, enough about Sacagawea. So I want you to learn a little bit more about their journey, which of course I give you one whopping paragraph here. Well, maybe two. But I have some videos here. So I want you, they're all linked. So when you hit present, they're linked here. Okay, guys, when you go to this one, you can see it barely says it here. It says continuous play. This is the only video I want you to watch, The American Landscape. It's 3 minutes and 15 seconds. It will automatically start playing the next video, which I think has nothing to do with Lewis and Clark. You do not have to watch that one, just this one, okay? This is another good little video. And then this one is actually a wrap that talks about the Lewis and Clark expedition. If I had to guess, I'd say this one is going to be your favorite. You know what? I'm not going to give you an assignment today. I was going to, but I'm actually going to delete your slide. So I just want you to listen to my video, watch these three, and we'll touch base on Thursday. All right, guys, have a great day. Bye.